get started. Perfect. Okay, so thank you all so much for tuning in today. I'm really excited. Olivia and I were just chatting about how relevant this topic is and just so tangible. So I'm excited for all of us to dive in together. A bit of background information on Olivia, our host. She spent 5 years managing digital marketing for brands across a variety of industries with a specific focus on email marketing. And with her most recent venture, email is a key channel for growth. Together with her background in everything outdoors, indoor cycling, and better for you startups, she ties together her deep knowledge of mind-body connection with open energy and a positive attitude to lead Liberate, which is a new kind of wellness studio with an emphasis on mental health. So thank you so much, Olivia, for taking the time to host this call. I know how valuable your time is, and we can't wait to learn from you today.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Welcome, everybody who's here to give an overview of email and also answer any specific questions. I know, a lot of you submitted questions beforehand, so I'll go through those. And then if any other questions come up, you can shout out or chat them, whatever is most helpful for you. Give you a little bit of my background. In addition to that, I worked in email marketing for about 5 years as my sole role, and also as part of a larger digital marketing role as a consultant and also within startups. So a lot of variety of experience across different email service providers, different industries, different clients. So happy to answer any questions related to that. I now most recently founded the first ever mental wellness studio by the name of Liberate, which I know some people on this call have joined a class before. So our classes are all around embracing and strengthening your mental health. We practice a flow of mindful movement to reflection and conversation with journaling and meditation. And it's a great way to focus on strengthening your mental health, especially during this time, and kind of equal out the investment that we give to our physical and mental health and prioritize ourselves a little bit more. So I'd love for you guys to check out a class too at some point. I'll send some information in the chat as well. But I do email a lot for Liberate, of course, and for a few other freelance clients now. So I'll start with the different email service providers you can use and then kind of go through some of your questions. Main email service providers that I recommend using are Klaviyo, Retention Science, or MailChimp. There are a lot of other ESPs out there that like .mailer and some other random ones, but I think they're a little bit more outdated and more clunky to use. So if you're just starting out, if your budget's low, if your list size is super small, like under 10,000 people, I would say, MailChimp is perfectly fine. It's the most affordable option. It's also rather limited in terms of the A/B testing you can do and how you can build out automations. But when your list is smaller, you may prefer to save a buck. So for MailChimp, you can just use the basic plan to have a few automations running and send off one-off campaigns as well. Once you get to a point where you feel like you want to have some more filters, segmentations, intelligence around your email list, you can move to Klaviyo. Klaviyo is a bit more pricey. I believe it's around $350 a month if you have a 10,000 person list. And there's a lot more options for testing. So every email you send, you can be testing the content, the subject line, the pretext, things like that. And for automations as well, which you can't A/B test automations with MailChimp. And you can also segment people out of your flow more easily in Klaviyo based off of their behavior, if they've purchased, if they opened the other email, etc. I love Klaviyo. And then the last ESP is Retention Science. I'm not sure if that applies to anyone here, but Retention Science is an AI-based ESP. Microsoft uses it, The Honest Company, Target, big companies. If you have a lot of products, this is where it's helpful. It uses AI to generate the time that the email is sending and the products that are being recommended in every email. So it's the least manual out of all of these ESPs, obviously also the most expensive, but it allows you to kind of set it and forget it, which, forget it for a quarter and then go back and look at all the data. But the automations and the AI allow it to really improve itself on its own. And then, oh, I already have a question. We can cover a little bit of B2B. This is mostly B2C, but if you have specific questions around B2B, happy to answer them. I have experience with that as well. And then moving into how to grow your list. This is a question that a lot of people had. So there are platforms that you can use to grow your list if you have a budget, even if slightly smaller. There's a platform I love called Dojo Mojo. Sorry, I live on a busy street. And this platform allows you to partner with other brands in order to add other brands to a giveaway and receive the other brand's entries. So if you sign on to Dojo Mojo and make an account, you'll be able to see all of these giveaways that are running based off of the expected entries, the list size, the theme, if you're looking for health and wellness or, you know, beauty, whatever industry you're looking in. It's really easy platform to navigate. And then you can apply to enter these existing giveaways if you're accepted based off of, you know, what you have to offer and your product. Then you just have to send out an email with the link that whoever's hosting the giveaway creates. It's a really easy way to get those giveaway entries without actually having to host a giveaway yourself. So that's what I've done with a lot of startup brands that I've worked with who are looking to grow their list. You can also just do a giveaway with another brand. So if I was Liberate, which I am, and wanted to do a giveaway with some other wellness brand like Barry's Bootcamp, we could send out an email for the giveaway and link it to a Google form, or even link it to just like an email address for them to reply to enter. And then all of those entries would be on one form. Barry's would give me their email entries. I would give them mine. We just grew both of our lists at the same time. I'm not as helpful to Barry's at this point. But that's a good way to just get some new users who are likely going to be interested in you. And that's the most important thing for giveaways is it doesn't really make sense to partner with brands where those subscribers aren't going to be interested in what you're selling. It's not the right demo. So that's the most important thing. Don't just do giveaways to do giveaways, but do giveaways that are really going to find you more qualified leads. And then you can also have a referral program to grow your list. There's lots of different referral programs out there. I believe Referral Candy is the most affordable one that I've found if you want to add a referral program to your emails and also to your website. That's an easy way to get some new lead gen. And lastly, this is the most important one, which hopefully everyone already has or is going to have right after this. You should have an email modal capture on your site always. If you think it's intrusive, you can add a 5-second delay, but this is the best way to capture human beings on your site. All the brands I work with for consulting, you know, they're so focused on paid ads and they want me to help with paid ads. And the first thing I say is, what about your email? What's your email program? Like, where's your email capture? You don't even have an email capture. You're paying ads, you're paying money to have, you know, all these consumers directed to your site. But if they leave, that's the end of the relationship. So it's really important to capture all of those leads right away. And then if they don't engage with that initial welcome modal, you can also add a second pop-up modal that's exit intent. So if you're using something like Just Uno or Privy for your email capture, if you take your cursor and cross the bookmark bar on your web browser, that's exit intent according to them. So that will trigger, that action will trigger another pop-up that says before you leave, or, you know, could give an offer then to try to get them to stay or at least put in their email address. So I recommend doing that to drive some new users as well on your email list, because again, if you don't get their email address, the relationship can end pretty quickly, and email gives you a chance to really nurture those relationships. Email, let's see. email copy. Email copy should be short and sweet. I have probably sent, I don't even know how many, honestly, probably over 500,000 unique emails, creatives, and long copy never works. It is so daunting to look at. I'm sure you have all gotten those emails in your inbox that is so like a huge paragraph and you just click out of it. Nobody wants to read a paragraph like that on their phone. So remember that you're always writing and designing for mobile first. At least 80% of emails are opened on mobile devices. So that's where you should be looking and thinking of when you're sending those test emails to yourself and you're writing everything out. The goal for mostly every email is to get them to click, whether that's onto your site or to the giveaway or wherever you're directing them. We probably don't just want them to open the email and then leave, unless it's a newsletter maybe. So if you put all of the email information in the email, you're losing curiosity. We want to pique curiosity so that everyone feels incentivized to click and learn more, click and see what that product looks like, click to see what the announcement is, etc. Instead of opening the email and feeling like they've seen enough, they know that they're not interested. Because if you get them on the site, they're more likely to engage and convert if this is a B2C scenario. So just try to keep your copy blocks to, I'd say, 1 to 3 sentence at length. And then if you have a lot of information to share, if it is an intricate new launch or there's just a lot of information, just break it up. So instead of having one huge copy block of 7 sentences, 3, and then another 2, and then 1 on its own, and just give, the statements that you're making some room to breathe so people can digest the information more easily. And the same goes for headlines. So headlines for emails are telling you what is to come, what we should be paying attention to, why we should read that copy block. So you can make your headlines short and sweet as well. It could say big news. It could say fall sale, whatever it is to get them to commit to wanting to read that copy block underneath. And for reference, these are things I worked previously at a wonderful natural care brand called Royale, which if anybody needs natural skincare or period care, highly recommend. Products are 10 out of 10. But we did so much email testing to prove out these theories and, have really long copy blocks and heavily designed emails versus not to learn more about what worked. So these tips come with a lot of grueling testing, I promise. And with that, some, tips and tricks to increase your engagement is to, 1, segment. So remove the unengaged users from your sends. Let's say you're sending a weekly email. Maybe once a month you include those unengaged users in that weekly email. And the rest of the time you're only including people who have opened your emails in the last 6 months. It can even be 9 months. You'll be surprised how small your engaged segment gets when you make these. And you can make these segments in any email service provider that you're working with. MailChimp has not total, but MailChimp has segment capability, no problem. And, think about what message is most important for you that you're sending out every month. Or if you're sending out daily emails, I wouldn't probably do that unless your list is really large. You could send out 2 emails a week, I would say, if your list is, under 50,000 and probably not have a really high unsubscribe rate. But maybe your unsubscribe rate is great and you're doing it daily. So I guess it's a case-by-case scenario in that way. But you can also improve your subject lines to pique more interest and to communicate offers. The best ways to increase subject line performance is saying urgency, creating mystery, or just outright saying an offer. So, You can also start testing emojis versus no emojis. Some brands, the last brand I worked with, emoji in every subject line, they crushed. My brand, they don't really like emojis. But you can test it after you test it, 3 times and the results are really clear, then you know what to do moving forward. Ellipses sometimes really help with boosting curiosity, like you're not going to believe this, ... versus you're not going to believe this. Sometimes the ... will have stronger open rates, so you can test that out as well and see if that works for your list. And just think about yourself as a consumer. Is this exciting to me to open? And if it's not, you may want to put some more time into it. You can also explore resources like milled.com and reallygoodemails.com, which I will post in here, but they have both design inspiration as well as design inspiration, headline inspiration, copy inspiration, and subject line inspiration. So Really Good Emails is a website that has emails from, a bunch of different larger brands that whoever owns the site collects and categorizes. So you can click on abandoned cart emails or Christmas emails or welcome emails to get some inspiration from those. And Milled has every email that's ever been sent by like any brand. So you can search by the brand and then by the window of time. We used to have a lot of inspiration from Clinique emails when I was working in skincare. So I would go onto Milled, search Clinique, look at all their skincare and be like, oh, that's such a good headline about vitamin C. I'm going to take that and adapt it. So if you're feeling stuck with copy for any element of your email, those are really good resources for inspiration. I love them. And then if you're not really, salesy and you're not trying to be salesy, that's totally fine. You can make your subject lines and your copy more around, these tips that you need. If you have a blog, like how to feel better than ever, how to, some claim that's going to make people think, oh, I want that, or like how to sleep a full 8 hours, something like that people are looking for and you can offer in that way will help as well. And on that, if you're thinking about, how can I send more emails and engage with my audience without being overly salesy, if you're trying to avoid being salesy, there are blog emails that you can send out, editorial content, educational content. You want to make it fun. You don't want to make it too overly sciencey while still sounding like an expert. So, if you're a CBD company, you could write about an email on how to stay calm and include a few fun tips and then throw in, using your own product as an option at the end. This is, just based off of a brand by brand basis, but you don't have to have a blog to put out blog-like content. If you just want it to live in the email, you can do that too, just based off of your own resources. But for a lot of the brands I worked with at an agency in the past, a digital agency, we had one brand called Tosi, which is like natural granola bars. And we made them a blog. We put out blog posts about healthy eating habits and ways to stay active, things like that just fit into health and wellness. And we made a blog email drip that, sent one email a week featuring different blog posts of theirs and then also featured products. And this was the most successful email drip that they had because, people just want to know how to eat better. And then before they know it, they're on the site and clicking around and adding Tosi to cart. So it's a non-intrusive way of selling while also providing valuable information. So when you do those types of emails, again, just remember to keep copy short and link to whatever the longer article is, wherever it lives, that they can go read it in full. And then what else? Okay, automations. Automations are the money makers. These are email drips that you can take time and put in the front work in order to see constant revenue for the rest of its time. So I highly recommend setting up automations, even if it seems a little daunting in the beginning. You know, you'll know every month we can rely on $2,000 from the welcome drip or 1K from the cart abandon drip, whatever it is for you. It just creates a little bit of stability in your digital marketing. So for the welcome drip, this should be 3 to 4 emails here. I would say you can do more if you have the resources. Giving an overview about your brand, introducing the founders, telling the story, talking about your services, your benefits, really highlighting what makes you so special, and always including a call to action in every email. Should never be an email without a button. There should never be an email without something that's directing them to site, whether it says shop now, learn more, subscribe, etc. Make sure you're creating action with all of these emails. Cart abandon drip as well. This can be, you know, at least 2 emails, probably 3, and creating more and more urgency to recover the customer's cart as they go through. Browse abandon is a series I love. So this, for anyone who doesn't know, is something that will trigger if someone's on a product page or even on your site and then leaves. They were browsing, they abandoned. So you can send them an email here featuring the product that they abandoned, or just really focusing on what exactly is so wonderful about your product to get them to come back and check out. And then post-purchase, this is where you build the relationship. I'm sure we all probably know that it's one thing to get people to try your product, but to get them to come back and buy again is where the real value is. So post-purchase, the initial email can be around joining our community on social. You know, here's our customer service email if you need any help. Thank you so much for your order. Just thanking them and inviting them to join your community more fully. And then later on, maybe it's 14 days after, maybe it's 30 days, depending on your lifetime, we're going to want to engage with them again and say, you know, how's it going? Here are some other products we think you might like. Do you need a refill? Again, customer service support, just acting and showing them that you're really there for them will help with that retention. Blog drip, like I mentioned, really great way to just give non-salesy content as a refresh for your audience. And then churned emails. This is for that unengaged segment you don't know what to do with, who's bringing all your open rate and click rate down. Give them their own drip with a special offer and with, you know, reasons they should try your product that are really salesy and, you know, really pushing the envelope there, because this is your last ditch effort. If they don't buy it with this, they're never going to buy it, and you're probably just going to end up cleaning them out of your list. So you can really go all out in that drip and treat these users very special. So, you know, hopefully you can recover some of them. What are the other questions you guys had? Well, maybe I'll take a break here and see if anyone had any questions. Oh, raza.io. I have not used raza.io, so I can't speak to them specifically, but I know the AI really helps with, you know, just automating even further than, you know, Klaviyo's automations can go. For automation emails for the welcome sequence, I would say if you can set up 3 to 4, you know, spaced out with 1 to 2 days in between, that would be best. And if you have a large list or a lot to say, you could go up to 6 emails here, but 3 to 4 is a really good number there. And to reach people who don't open or click, again, you can send these a VIP offer in a blast or on an automation. And you can also try changing the from name. So instead of it saying from Liberate, it could say from Olivia Bowser. You can change that in, you know, the ESP itself, so that you've seen those emails, right? You've gotten them from FabFitFun before of, hi, it's Jan. And it makes you more likely to open because you think it's from a real person. So you can give that a try too. And I feel like that covers most of the questions I was sent. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to just shout out, or you can chat one if you'd like.
Hey, Olivia,
Yes.
what have you done to revive a dead or really old email list?
I would clean it, and also that may be a good time to change ESPs if you were thinking about it, because if the list is dead or your engagement is low on that, then you could be ending up in people's spam or the promotional tab. And when you go to a new IP, if you're changing ESPs, it's treated as a brand new, send. So you would start warming through, Klaviyo if you're moving over to Klaviyo, and then it would be treated as if it's like a brand new email that they're getting in their inbox.
The nonprofit, I'm trying to get their email marketing revived, is on MailChimp. And I think because there's just like 3 users on the team, it would be really tough to switch them over. So what other, like I'd like to keep MailChimp. So what other tricks have you tried to, and somebody just asked, how often do you clean your list and what parameters do you use?
Yeah. If you're not looking to change ESPs, it's not, I mean, you shouldn't be cleaning your list all the time if you're getting qualified users. So I would just say the other option is to segment. So if you're sending emails regularly, stop sending to those people who haven't opened an email in a year, and we can send them a specific campaign to see if they will open, but they're affecting all of your other performance at this point. So
Okay.
I would, make a segment in MailChimp. I believe MailChimp lets you do one, like has opened any one of the past 10 campaigns, or
Yeah.
if you sent them really recently, you could do like in the past 6 months, and just start sending your regular communication to those guys and start to think about what could I email those unengaged users who haven't opened an email in a while to get them to open, like some really out there subject line and some great offer or opportunity, whatever you can think of there.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Let me look at these questions. Yeah, so to answer the cleaning your list, I only clean a list if I've first received it from a client and they've said, like, we've done a bunch of giveaways, our engagement's really poor. I don't clean a list of a company I've been working at for 3 years. It's more so just filtering out those unengaged users from all of your sends versus using like a cleaning service. For collecting email addresses during the pandemic, I don't recommend buying lists unless it's really qualified. It's often illegal and often not, like, those users aren't probably going to convert. So I would more so revert to email partnerships is a great fallback, and it doesn't even have to be a giveaway over email if that's too involved for you. You could just have an email partnership where you do an email takeover and you get to talk all about your brand for this other brand and vice versa, and include a discount code, because when those people are curious and do explore your site, you'll be able to capture them with your email capture modal. But giveaways is the most effective way that I have ever been able to capture, 10,000 new email addresses at once. So exploring a platform like Dojo Mojo, or, just partnering up with another brand or two there is my recommendation. Active campaign is okay. So I think that the reason why you transitioned and lost significant open rate is that if you're, I don't know how large your list size is, Kate, but it should be warmed as you're, transitioning over. So if I transitioned a brand from MailChimp to Klaviyo at the agency, we would start by set up the welcome drip. So a few people are coming in at a time, and then send a blast to the top 10% of subscribers. So that first email you send from this new IP is going to have 50% open rate because it's the people who always open your email. And then a couple days later, you send one to the top 20% and go down the list. So the warming process can take, 2 weeks. If you just switch to a new ESP and send to everybody at once, you're probably going to get flagged. So that is likely how that's happened there, but you can contact Klaviyo about this and ask them for a new IP because I've done that before. So even if you're, or whatever ESP you're using, I guess, but you can contact your provider and say, I think we have an issue here. Can I get a new IP? And then if they give you one, then you can start the warming process over again. For email revenue as a percent of total e-com revenue. So this varies. The question from Hannah is, what's the benchmark you use for email revenue as a percent of total e-com revenue? I have seen email revenue go up to 60% of total. It depends on what you're doing in other channels. So my most recent opportunity, it was about, or my most recent position, we had about 20% of our total revenue coming from email. When I started, we had 6, so it grew that significantly. But because we were so heavily invested in paid social and paid search, there's only so much email can do as an owned channel when the list is a certain size. So I would say if you're between 20 and 40% of total, that's really healthy. And that's probably where you're going to sit. If you're over that, that's wonderful, but I would assume that it's because you're not doing a lot on, paid channels. And with Dojo Mojo, what's the conversion rate of the lists that I have? From Mariana. Off the top of my head, I think it was probably like a fourth of what the conversion rate is for organic new users. But that is, to be expected, and they're still engaging with the list. So, we don't see a huge unsubscribe rate from those consumers. So maybe eventually once we have a Black Friday sale, they'll subscribe, or they're just waiting longer to have, the push that they need to purchase. But I would say probably a fourth of organic users. Any other questions from anybody that I can help answer? No? Okay. I'm just looking through my notes. Oh, I am still consulting. I work on Liberate mostly full-time, but I have another wellness studio that's wonderful for anyone who's in LA. Pause Studio does flotation therapy and IV drips and infrared sauna. I do digital marketing for them, and that's super fun, so you should check it out. And have I seen any e-com companies that do well with copy-heavy emails? No, I do see, someone else mentioned earlier that they saw, Hannah said, your long copy works really well. Every email is like an article. That's great. There are absolutely outliers for all of these tips, I'm sure. In general, for consumer packaged goods, which is what I've worked in, I see shorter copy that leads to the site outperforming longer copy. That said, if it's a really specific message or a huge announcement, I'm sure that there's room for longer copy there. So I'm happy that it's working for you. For design heavy emails with short copy, how long does it take to design an email? This is something I didn't talk about. It depends on depends on the designers, I suppose. There are different ways to set up your emails. So you can design in Photoshop or, Illustrator and slice the emails into different images, upload it into your ESP that way. Or you can just design right in the builder in MailChimp. So it's, live text and then you upload an image like that, less designed. I think for the design heavy emails, it probably took our designers up to 4 hours. I'm not sure. It was really design intricate. I use the builder now just because it's quick and easy. So a rule of thumb, if you're using a builder, is try to keep the ratio of text to images at 50-50 if you can. So that is helpful for someone who's drawn to using a ton of copy. That'll help you remember to throw images in. And if you're someone who's always just using images and overlaying the copy on them, it can remind you to throw in some live text too. But if you're using a purely designed email, then that rule doesn't really apply. Hope that answered the question. Anything else? Of course. Love these questions. I know there's a lot of email info out there, and it is a lot of, trial and error. Just testing as much as you can is my recommendation. Testing subject lines, testing content, testing segmenting your sends, and seeing how your open rate and click rate changes when you're only sending to those top, 50% of users or whatever you choose to segment out. There are a lot of little tweaks that you can make to boost performance. All right. Well, if that's it, then I can hand it back to Hannah.
Olivia, let's make sure we connect, please.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. I dropped my email into the chat.
Okay, beautiful.
Thanks.
Oh, and let me just wait before everybody goes anywhere. I'll share Livery as well. If anybody would love to come to class, I would love to have you. And you can come check it out and we can meditate together. It's a really fun time. And otherwise, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be the one to close out this call.
Oh, you're good.
Oh.
This was amazing. Yeah, I'm here. This was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming with your questions, and Olivia for just diving straight in and sharing your expertise with us. It was so appreciated. This was recorded and it will be shared in the offers group as a resource, and then that way you'll be able to see how you can connect with Olivia further down the road or whenever it makes most sense. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Olivia, and I hope everyone has an amazing rest of your day.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.